Hey everyone, John Dar here. I just wanted to discuss what's going on in One Piece right now, which is in chapter 1010. It was confirmed that Zoro has Conqueror Haki, and all the Zoro fanboys are freaking out, saying they've been saying he's had Conqueror Haki for years and way before this and even before the time skip. And I'm a huge fan of Zoro. He's in my top 3 Straw Hats. But I would just like to take a look at some of these clips that people are saying that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki in, and disprove it to tell you why you're wrong, essentially, because you are. There's the people are saying Zoro has Conqueror's Haki before the time skip in this clip right here. Let's take a look. As you can see, people assumed that to be Conqueror's Haki because of how everyone got scared, and it was a 360-degree radius of them all backing down. But in reality, what that really was it was Zoro's killing intent, because he's a swordsman and used to be a bounty hunter, and he's made a reputation for himself, and this and that, and you could see his head snap up and his eyes widen, and the leader of that bounty hunting group stepped back, which caused the rest of the bounty hunters to freak out a little bit and step back. And then once he drops his swords, everyone backs down. This is not Conqueror's Haki, especially because it's before the time skip. Yes, Luffy did use it before the time skip, but because Luffy couldn't control his Conqueror's Haki, he would end up knocking people out, out of sheer rage or fear or whatever emotion, super strong emotion he was feeling at the time that caused him to use it. And I have a clip to show you that proves that. Let me find it. Hold on. Right here, Rayleigh explains Haki, and we'll just skip through a little bit to where he starts explaining Conqueror's Haki, and he uses Conqueror's Haki right here. Observation Haki, of course. This is extremely advanced armament Haki. That right there was Conqueror's Haki, and as you can see, the animal is intimidated and then faints. And he says that's the power to intimidate your enemy. Conqueror's Haki. Later on, we know it's called the Color of Kings from Doflamingo and Katakuri. As you can see, Rayleigh did that again, and he knocked out everyone. But he can control it, so he meant to do that. And and he says Luffy has awakened it, and he did it once in Amazon Lily against the Marigold and the other Hancock sister, and he did it in Marineford when Ace was about to be executed. And he says, but don't use it until you become capable of controlling it fully, because you would intimidate innocent people around you too. And in this sense, intimidate means to... in this sense, he's saying intimidate means to, like, knock them out or overwhelm them. So that is why this... We'll watch it one more time. This clip cannot be Haki, because there's no way Zoro has any control over it. He does not have Haki. And he simply just intimidates them with his killing intent. If this was Haki, they would have all passed out, because he has no control over his Conqueror's Haki. Even if he has control over his willpower, his Conqueror's Haki wouldn't have control. See, he falls back. He's just scared out of Zoro's look in his eye. You can see the look of killing, like the bloodlust in Zoro's eye. And then, because he falls backwards, they all freak out a little bit. They all step back because he steps back. And then he's the only one that drops his sword. And then he decides that he's not going to fight Zoro because he's scared. Yes, this is intimidation, but it's not the same thing. Now, let's look at another clip where this is completely different. This still isn't Conqueror's Haki, but I could see why people would think it, especially since it's after the time skip. But right here, when Zoro cuts through Monet, okay, now I'm going to break this down. I'll let it play through once, and then I'll break it down after. We'll play it again. Okay, so, like I said, I'll let it run through once. Okay, let's start with this. He says that she's too weak, and that the moment she doubted herself, she should have ran. And he says, have you ever met a wild beast who promised they wouldn't bite? Saying, yeah, he doesn't want to slice a woman, but he never promised that he wouldn't and that he couldn't. And he then says, she's scared off that comment alone. I just want to clarify that. Because I have him. Okay, and you see this his red glow in his eye. This is bloodlust. This is his bloodlust, and him trying to scare her. I can see the confusion as of why people think this Conqueror's Haki now, because the only other time we see red coming out of people's eyes in the animation is in Wano, when Luffy uses Conqueror's Haki and when they use Haki in general. So people think this is Conqueror's Haki. Oh. Whoops. Clumsy of me. People think that this is Conqueror's Haki, making her not be able to move. But this is just for sheer... This is her being so incredibly scared that she just cannot move her body. And it's just the fear alone and the shock of how strong Zoro is, and you can sense his killing intent and his aura of, like, not Conqueror's Haki, because yes, Conqueror's Haki is an aura, but his bloodlust, you can sense that, is what I'm trying to say. So you see this glow in Wano. This is the only other time we see this glow, and it's when they use Haki, so I can see the confusion there. He's not using Haki. He's not. And I know it sounds very contradictive, and I probably sound ignorant to a lot of you, but this is not Haki. This is just, for lack of better words, this is just how they made the animation look more badass of Zoro. This is not Haki. And then he slices her. He slices her. He doesn't use armament Haki. He just slices her in half, and she's so scared that she can't go back together. It's not Conqueror's Haki. Now, this one I can't be 100% on, and I know, like, I'm saying this, and I'm telling you I can't be 100%, but I can't be 100% this isn't Conqueror's, because I'm not Oda, so I don't know all the answers. But this one, 100% is not Conqueror's Haki. But to back up some of my claims before of neither of them being Conqueror's Haki, I have a few more fights and clips from the show to show you. First and foremost, there is when Zoro... This has nothing to do with his killing intent, but this is when Zoro essentially shows what kind of person he is and starts a reputation for himself that we can see. The clip right there of him saying scars on the back are a swordsman's shame, and then tanking a slice directly through where his heart is, all the way to the bottom of his chest on the right side, so top left to bottom right, slice straight diagonally across his chest from the strongest blade in the world. At least that's what Mihawk claims. We don't know if that's true. That's him starting a reputation for himself and showing that he is an honorable person, and though this doesn't prove his bloodlust, it shows what kind of person he is. This, not yet. Can't show you that. Let's find it. I was just gonna close this. I thought I'd find it pretty quickly. But there's this. When Arlong sees Zoro's scars. You can see that's the same look Monet had in her eyes. And though Zoro's not directly intending for him to be scared, he is. He's scared of Zoro. Arlong is scared of Zoro in this scene. And he is just shocked at how he's alive from this cut, and even says that. How can he still be alive with a body like this? How can he still be standing? There's the cut and the scar. And this is partially of pain, mostly of pain, but this look in Zoro's eye is determination that he's not gonna die. Because if you remember during Arlong Park, he says, even if this wound would kill a normal person, I can't die. Even if a normal person would pass out in these circumstances, I can't pass out. Even if a normal person would lose a fight in these circumstances, I can't pass out because I can't be ordinary. I have to beat Mihawk. See, Arlong thinks that these are the eyes of someone who's dying. And because Zoro is... Okay, let's say, for one, it's not the eyes of someone who's dying, it's the eyes of someone who... Essentially, that was Zoro giving him the look, the killing intent look. Like, he's not gonna do it, but he's like, my captain's gonna kick your ass, you're gonna regret this. I'm not one to be reckoned with. Also, Zoro could have beat Arlong if he wasn't severely wounded, so there's that too. But, and then Arlong goes on to say he needs to kill him, thus proving that Arlong is scared shitless of Zoro. So that's him building a reputation for himself. And there's scenes like this. He gets trapped in the giant candle, and they're gonna die if something doesn't happen, so he does this. He doesn't actually... Well, he does, actually. He does actually cut his legs, but I'm not sure if it's actually shown, because he kind of just nonchalantly plays it off. He nonchalantly plays it off as like, oh, Luffy, Usopp, you guys are here now. Cool. I was gonna cut off my own legs, but I guess not. He only got halfway through. You can see the blood. So this is another extent of Zoro proving that he's just a badass and you should fear him. Thus leading up to the moment of this, where, as you know, they know who Zoro is, so they know his reputation. And he looks up and they're scared because his bloodlust, and he has a reputation of just he will do anything to kill you if he needs to. And that's his bloodlust right there, and that's why they're scared. Monet, on the other hand, he also has the reputation for this. He's known worldwide. He's known globally. And he says this line right here, and he says it with such the intent to kill her and the bloodlust in his eyes when he smiles while saying this. The smile right there, and the intent. You could hear the smile gives away that he's intending to harm her, kill her, and the actual line he says is just over the top that scares Monet, and that's why she couldn't move. She was scared, and because she was so scared, her mind was going everywhere, so she didn't even realize. She forgot she was a Logia. She forgot that she could just tank the attack. She probably also thought that Zoro was going to use Haki, so she couldn't move, and she figured, I'm gonna die. So she kind of just gave up, and then at the end of this fight, she's just laying there in half because she's just so scared, and she just like gave up, essentially. She was just so scared, and then the shock of being cut in half and thinking that it was Haki made her pass out. Now, don't confuse that with Zoro's willpower making her pass out. That was the shock of being cut in half and thinking that he was using Haki, and she died. So, there's that. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty of why I made this video. Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. The first 20 minutes was me disproving why he didn't awaken it before chapter 1010. Right here. You can see you don't see the attack, but he attacks Kaido, and Kaido goes, damn, that run, it can't be, you have Conqueror's Haki too, question mark. Kaido's not going to confuse that. I don't think Kaido's going to be wrong about him having Conqueror's Haki. And he says, what the hell do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. I just put everything I had into that attack. I was hoping to at least be enough to knock you down. He said it'll leave a scar. That'll be enough for you. That's proof that it's Conqueror's Haki, because the only other person to leave a scar on Kaido was Odin, who could use Conqueror's Haki. But wait, there's more. What else was Odin using when he put a scar on Kaido? Enma! What is this? Enma. Zoro has Enma now. As you can see, Enma. And Enma is one of the strongest blades in all of One Piece. And Odin was using Enma and the other sword that Momonosuke's sword when he scarred Kaido. Conqueror's Haki, Enma, and I forget what Momonosuke's sword is called, but that one too left a scar on Kaido. Well, Zoro has, I forget what the third sword's called, but he has Wado Ichimonji, and Enma, which are two very good swords, as well as he was using Haki. Now, was it Armament Haki, or was it Conqueror's Haki? Well, obviously, when he damaged Kaido, it was Conqueror's Haki. Now let me explain what I think and how Zoro awakened Conqueror's Haki, and how it wasn't just all of a sudden let me push past my limits. I need to save Luffy, Kid, and Law and do some damage before I faint and pass out and am knocked out of this fight. It wasn't just out of nowhere. Um, right here, Zoro's arm is being drained by the sword because it's a special kind of sword that like drains your energy. Only Odin tamed it before this panel right here, and he says, "Give me back my energy," essentially. And it says this sword will force its wielder to release excessive amounts of Ryu, advanced armament Haki, and it will cause unnecessarily large strikes. If you were just some normal swordsman, you would have had all your energy sucked out and collapsed immediately. Well done. What do you want to do? Do you want a different sword? He says, no, I'll take it. Enma. So what this means is I tamed it or something, or this is mine. I forget what the panel actually says, but Ryu is advanced armor Haki, yes, and yes, he is forced to use armor Haki here. But what I think it is, as it says right here, the sword forces its wielder to release excessive amounts of Ryu. Or Rio, I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't think that's actually the case. I think this is a cover-up, and God, I forget this guy's name. He didn't explain it correctly because he didn't know. I think what it is that this sword requires the user to release Conqueror's Haki into the sword to be able to wield it. And that would make sense as to why Odin was the only person in history before Zoro to wield it. You could argue the fact, well, only very few people could wield or could infuse it with excessive amounts of Rio. Well, then, how come? The oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. I hate this. Here, I'll look it up. This is important. Sorry for the silence. This is I need to know the name to give you a good picture in your mind. Hyogoro, the flower samurai or whatever he's called, the one who is leading the samurai in the fight right now. How come he couldn't tame Enma if it's just releasing excessive amounts of Rio? He taught Luffy Rio, and he says that most samurais can use it, and he was also, besides Odin, he was the strongest samurai. So why couldn't he use Enma? Well, he doesn't have Conqueror's Haki. And this is just a theory as to how Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. Yet he has Conqueror's Haki 100%. This is just what I think awakened it. Right here. This is the exact panel right here when he just refuses, because this is sheer willpower and releasing Rio. So what I think it is that you have to have willpower mixed with Rio, you having a slight stroke, and combining those two things doesn't really make Conqueror's Haki, but I'm saying this wrong. Essentially, I believe that it's just Conqueror's Haki being infused into this blade. That's all it is. And that's how this right here was possible. He's using, well, you don't see it, but essentially obviously you guys who are watching this should know that he used Ashura and put all of his efforts into one attack. So he was using quote unquote 9 swords. He was using Enma, and that required him to infuse one blade with Conqueror's Haki. Well, he's already doing that with one blade. And since he knows how to do it with Enma, and he learned, let's put it, I'm going to say it in quotes, in air quotes, we're going to leave it floating in the air. He was releasing excessive amounts of Ryo into Enma. Why not do that into Wado Ichimonji and his other sword? Because it's still possible. It's not, the other swords aren't forcing him to, but since he's done it with Enma, he can. Now, if I'm right about it being Conqueror's Haki, and it just being labeled as Ryo because they don't know, the person who was explaining the sword to Zoro didn't know what it was actually, that means Zoro is infusing all of his swords with Conqueror's Haki, and he scarred Kaido on the chest, if I may add, if I'm correct here. Yeah, that's on the chest, near the heart. He was attempting to kill Kaido. Obviously it didn't work. This is just a little tangent before we wrap up the video and I end it, and all that. How does Zoro release armament Haki through his teeth? Oh wait, no, okay, I remember now, because in Dressrosa it's shown that he infuses it with armament and then puts it in his mouth. Okay. Now, with Conqueror's Haki, it'd be a little different. I don't think that he could infuse all 3 blades with Conqueror's Haki. I simply believe that I don't think he could just infuse one of his blades with Conqueror's Haki and then put the blade in his mouth and then he attacks with it and it has Conqueror's. I think Conqueror's Haki blades have to constantly be flowing with Conqueror's Haki to be used. So, in case anyone was wondering, just like me, I don't think Zoro can use all 3 swords with Conqueror's, just 2. But in this case, he used, if we're going off that logic, he would have used 6 Conqueror's Haki swords because he used Asura. So, yeah. If you made it to this part of the video and you listened to my tangent and non-stop talking in my annoying voice, thank you. If you're not subscribed already, think about it. It's up to you. Like the video if you enjoy hearing my thoughts. It really would help if you liked the video to let me know that you wanted to see more videos like this discussing what I think is happening in the One Piece world, like how stuff is happening. And yeah, this will be John Dar signing out. Hope you guys have a great day.